What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 4 of The Punk. Reason for the delay, the 1 day delay, is because the weather is lovely. And it's bank holiday weekend here in the UK, so hence the 1 day delay. So it's been a quiet week for mixed martial arts. There's been no UFC events at all last week. That's because they deserve a break, really. They had 3 weeks and 3 consecutive fight cards, so building up some anticipation, excitement for their cards coming, because they got a UFC 160, which features the heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez in a rematch against Antonio Silva, so that should be good. But there has been nothing. There's been nothing on the UFC front this week, so it's been quite quiet. For those of you who are wondering why there was no live Twitter coverage on last Monday's Raw, apologies for that. It's just, for you guys in America and Canada, who might not know or understand why, it's when Raw airs your time, it airs over here at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, not 3 o'clock in the morning, it like starts at 1 and it's a 3-hour show now. It basically goes on to like 4 o'clock in the morning. And it really takes it out of you. It's a really long show, and I tend to find myself a little bit tired after a while. And I had no energy drinks on me, which was bad. So I gave it a miss last week. But I presented I put the results up, and normal service will resume today. So, but obviously I got a chance to watch it the day afterwards, and I was opinions really of it was a fairly average Raw. It wasn't terrible like we've seen in the last couple of weeks, and it wasn't amazing and brilliant like the day after WrestleMania. So there were a few good matches on the show, a few good kind of tweaks to certain storylines, especially the Ryback John Cena one. Obviously, as I mentioned last week, they're focusing quite a lot on the Cena injury angle with his Achilles tendon and Ryback's subsequent kind of behaviour and reaction towards that. So I'm not sure how that will affect the match at Extreme Rules, but especially since the stipulation hasn't been announced. And also, what I was thinking about the other day is how are they going to book that, because you've got the Triple H Brock Lesnar steel cage match. Will that go on last, or will they have Cena and Ryback go on last? So it's quite interesting. If they have Triple H and Brock Lesnar go on last, I think that would be a bit of a joke, really. You've got two part-timers going at it, and but then again, WWE tend to book Brock Lesnar high up. He equals ratings and buy rates, so we shall see. Best match on Raw was actually Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, followed by Alberto Del Rio and Antonio Cesaro. They were 2 quality matches, ate up a lot of time, and were pretty solid actually. And I have noticed as well that this week they've been using Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow separately from each other, so perhaps they might be trying out some sort of, trying to break away from the Rhodes Scholars. I think it's about time that tandem ended. They're stale. They seem to just be feuding with tons of fun, which is a waste of their talents, really. Cody Rhodes, I've been a fan of for a long time, and I really think that he could be pushed back to one of the mid-card titles. Intercontinental, United States, it doesn't really matter. They don't mean much anymore. But if he can hold on to one and make it a meaningful reign, like he did with his Intercontinental title a couple of years ago, that would be a good start for him. And perhaps maybe even win Money in the Bank this year. I mean, a lot of fans want it. Probably won't happen this year. It's going to be a kind of make or break couple of years for Cody Rhodes. If he doesn't do anything in the next couple of years, then you probably know that he won't ever hold any of the major titles. That's the way I see it anyway. Damien Sandow, obviously, he's a bit older than Cody Rhodes, but he's got more time on his side because he's fairly new to the roster, whereas Cody Rhodes has been part of the company now since late 2007, something like that. So it should be interesting to see how that goes forward. Rolling on to SmackDown, so on Raw you had obviously the Shield in action against Cena and Team Hell No, and that was after Ryback walked out on Cena, citing that Cena was basically a liability and basically just pussing around. And it's interesting to see how they've changed the dynamics of Ryback's character. He's no longer the all-dominating unstoppable machine, like how Goldberg was back in the WCW days. They've kind of changed him into a more elusive, more I'm going to blame everything on everyone else kind of character, and I think it was kind of what was needed really. Ryback needed to escape the constant Goldberg kind of comparisons, and they're kind of slowly getting in there. I still don't think he's ready for the main event scene like most people, but in wrestling, good writing can make or break a character, and Ryback hasn't really had that yet. But there's still time to tweak that character. So going into SmackDown, he was in action in the opening match against Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan can make anyone look good, and it was the same here. I mean, he made Ryback look strong, dominant, but at the same time vulnerable in certain areas. Daniel Bryan kept on, focusing his leg kick attacks on Ryback's legs, and it was a very good opening match actually. And I've been saying it for a while that SmackDown has actually been better than Raw for a number of weeks now, and it wasn't. It was pretty much the case of the same as well this week. So SmackDown was a better show in my opinion. It seems that SmackDown seems to be toning down on the backstage antics and focusing more on producing some high quality matches, and that's how it should be really. You have Raw, which is the storyline show, and SmackDown, which essentially recaps Raw but also contains some good wrestling, and they seem to be doing that quite well at the moment. The main event of SmackDown was Dean Ambrose versus Kane, who obviously wanted retribution for the Shield's attack of The Undertaker, and that's building into obviously the Shield challenging Team Hell No for the tag team titles at Extreme Rules, and it's going really, really well. And one of the big concerns was with CM Punk taking time off, would the Shield be overexposed? And the answer to that really is yes, they are overexposed, but they're not being booked in the same way as the Nexus were back in 2010, where you had John Cena basically going, "I'm going to end you," and beating them all and making them all look crap, and where are they now? I don't think, I mean, they've got 3 players where the Nexus had like 6 or 7, and it allows them to focus and hone their skills a little bit more in the various departments which they seem to be lacking. I think Dean Ambrose, the reason why he's been used in the singles action in singles matches, whereas Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins haven't, is because he is as close to the perfect package as they have in that trio at the moment. He's a fantastic wrestler. If any of you saw him in the Indies, he's one of the best talkers, and he's got a really bright future ahead of him. So do the other 2, but they've still got a few things that they need to tweak and work on. So that's the reason why he's been used so much. But all in all, it was a fairly decent week in WWE. Nothing really to moan about too much. I'm still slightly concerned where they seem to be headed with the main events into Extreme Rules. I hear we're going to have Brock Lesnar on the show tonight, but they really need to kind of step it up. A lot of fans are not really interested in this rivalry anymore, and I think it might be time to, finish it, kill it. I mean, obviously a rubber match usually insinuates that it will be the last, and I know that WWE were planning on having this match later on in the year, perhaps around SummerSlam, have a rematch. It would bring it full circle, but obviously with John Cena's injury, with CM Punk taking time off, they've just bumped it forward to try and increase buy rates for this pay-per-view. So yeah, that's pretty much it really. No UFC, as I said. We haven't got any UFC action again this week. The next event will be the week afterwards, and that's UFC on FX. I got it right this time. I said it was UFC on Fuel last time. And that's Vitor Belfort taking on the the former Strikeforce light heavyweight champion, Luke Rockhold. So that could be pretty cool. We'll see. That might actually shake up the light heavyweight division a little bit, and John Jones might find himself with a decent challenger in Luke Rockhold if he's victorious, but it all remains to be seen. So yeah, Raw, as I said, is tonight, and obviously SmackDown later on in the week, and that's about it really for the coverage this week. Check me out, the website, as you may have noticed, a shorter website now, so it's www.thepunk.org. Check it out, guys, and any comments, let me know, and I'll see you all next week.